5 hours of summer once a week. Hey, 5 hours of summer one Saturday morning.
All right. It's time once again for yet another episode of Color Commentary, where we give you views from a different side. I, of course, am your host, Rashad, and I'm joined by my 80-year-old compadre.
Chuck Taylor here, guys. Make sure you like and subscribe. We'll be all in your lives.
And eat your vegetables. Turn your music down.
Turn that record off.
Right.
I'm old. So old. I'm so old.
As you might imagine, we are talking about Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny here. Movie featuring Harrison Ford, who I think in real life is in his 70s, not in his 80s, but I think that Indiana Jones is in his 80s. So they decided to make a movie with him while he was drawing Social Security. If that was a thing at the time. So let's go ahead and get into this, Mr. Chuck Taylor. What'd you think about this movie?
Yeah, I definitely thought he was old, I'll tell you that. But the movie, I mean, I've seen all the Indiana Jones movies. So I guess this one, it was okay. I think it definitely needed another star in it.
Okay.
Somebody else, because the last one, the Skull one, had what's the guy off of Transformers?
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, so he was in there, so it worked out well. He had a couple, and they had the girl from I think it was the second Indiana Jones. What's the dark hair? The one he ended up marrying.
Marion?
Her name is Marianne. Right. Yeah. So it had her in it too. So you had, multiple characters that he got to interact with that you knew. This one, I don't know. It had some decent points in it. I kind of felt the villain was kind of meh. His reasoning for what he wanted was like, I mean, all the villains that he has always got somebody that's like just wants power, or they want control of something. Like, right. I know with the other ones, like they want to be able to make people immortal or something like that. Okay. And they want to find like the fountain of Christ or something.
The Holy Grail.
Yeah, Holy Grail.
Okay, right.
And then like I know on the last one, with the crystal thing, they want to know what the aliens knew, and she just was just so enamored by space and trying to know all this stuff what came before her and all stuff. So she was, and it's always the Nazis wanting to do this. It's like, right. Is there any other section of people that want some knowledge on? So there's always the Nazis.
Right. But, right. It's Hydra. Hydra's trying to take over.
Yeah, Hydra, basically, that's what was always that. So
they kind of Hydra is the Nazis too. So yeah, it's still always the Nazis.
It's always the Nazis, bro. They are the smartest, most innovative villains ever. Right. Like, you notice that, right? Like every time they talk about Nazis, they're like trying to be like superior humans or something like that. So even that's kind of what they were trying to do anyway. But still, like it was other people, other national villains that nobody ever.
I think it was the Russians in the last movie. Actually,
it was Russians.
Yeah, I think it was. I don't think it was the Nazis last time.
I always got the Nazi vibe, so
that's true.
But yeah, he was okay. I never really felt that he was. It seemed like him and Indiana Jones were like, what did I say, like more like rivals in a way. Like they didn't seem like enemies. Like he just seemed like he respected Jones, and they both wanted the same thing, but he just wanted it his particular way. Like I don't know, I never really thought Indiana Jones was threatened at all in the movie. like to
Okay.
to be taken out or anything. I'm like, oh, he just wants to. Even when he called him, he just like took him with him to go try to use the stuff. Like, just kill him. Right. Like, why are you putting him on the plane and y'all going up to like just take him out? Like, what's the point of this?
I love watching those reviews talking about that where they have Scott Evil from Austin Powers. It's like, I've got a gun in my room right now. I can go get it. Bam. You know. Scott, you just don't understand how this works. You just don't get it, do you?
Basically, that's like one's like, oh, I wish I would develop these bad guys a little better. Like they're like the same bad guy on every movie that Indiana Jones has to face. Mm-hmm. But all in all, I don't mind that because I like Indiana Jones movies, so I don't really care that they try to keep the same nostalgia with the movies. But he just couldn't do anything. He was old. His fight scenes weren't fun. He couldn't do any like real, like when they had him when they de-aged him and they made him on the train and all that stuff. Like that was good. That kind of got me back into Indiana Jones. Like he's fighting the people, he's breaking into the place, locking stuff in, beating up Nazis over here, using the whip, taking people out. And then when he go into like the regular like his actual age, like the one can't do nothing.
That's the future of movies right now. If they're going to just keep making people just act until they're 100, they're just going to de-age them. Just keep them in their 30s and 40s.
Yeah, keep them in their 30s and 40s. There you go.
Right.
Put somebody else and run around and fight. But yeah, because when he's like running around, he running so old. Like
he's running so old.
You remember when he was chasing the car and they come around the corner, like he just was running old. Like he's an old man. So I don't know how to say that. That's what made the movie not as good. It's just I couldn't enjoy it as much. I'm like, he's old. He needs to be the end.
Hey man, he knocked over the bookcase at one time.
Oh, yeah, he did push the bookcase down with his feet and it hit nobody.
And he rode a horse.
Yes, he did. He did ride a horse. I thought they would do something to kind of bring in like the new age of Indiana Jones. It was like the girl. I'm sorry, she just wasn't. I didn't really like her. Like his goddaughter. Like she was kind of just like annoying after a while. Like she was just doing stuff like you're only doing this for some money, really? Like that's it?
Right.
He didn't have no other bigger goals.
Well, she wanted to vindicate her dad, kind of. At least that's what somebody else said. She didn't say that.
Yeah, she didn't say that. I couldn't tell that on the movie. Mm-hmm. It just seemed like they didn't wrote her. They didn't give her enough like real for her to be betraying people like this. And like I thought it would be a bigger twist. Like she was some secret agent or something else, some big thing that was going to happen. And then we find out that she was in control of all this, or she backstabbed somebody else. I don't know. I just was looking for something unexpected, and it didn't happen.
A big twist, like a black girl working for the Nazis, and then they kill her, and she says, "Oh, Smith."
Yeah, that they just want to throw. They needed some black people in the movie,
right?
They didn't have a little Asian boy off the first couple ones, so they needed to have some other ethnic group at that time. So. Yeah, somehow she worked her way up in the CIA. So, and she was out there running stuff. So she wasn't. But the going back in time thing, I'm running a little long, but yeah, the going back in time thing, I don't know. I kind of felt like Fast and the Furious almost. Like each time they're trying to do something more and more that's unbelievable. So now they got time machines made out of dials. Like, what? Last thing they got, at least with the last one, they had alien heads. That was like it's a power way above anybody that nobody knows. But now it's like some man in the Roman times made this dial thing that could connect with time travel. Mm-hmm. And we like, bro, if you don't get out of here with that, I'm sorry.
The Flash should have showed up and was like, nah.
Nah. Like, what? This is what y'all brought Indiana Jones out of retirement for. I'm sorry. They could have did better. So, but hopefully that's the end of it. What about you? What did you think?
Hopefully it's the end. I think I'm a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for? A little bit more softer, I guess, on the movie. Maybe it's because I am older, so I'm not that far from octogenarian. Nah, I got a little bit to go.
I hope you're that far. Getting old.
I would say this was almost a great movie. Almost. Yeah. Because here's the thing. Oh, well, okay. So I thought that I thought I thought the movie looked good. Unlike The Flash, there was never any point where I was like questioning what I was looking at. Like everything like looked good. I thought the stunts that they did were good. Like there was one scene where he jumped from I guess the rickshaw to the other rickshaw, and like he did it right as it was about to crash into a wall, another car or something. Like all that stuff looked good. I thought that the music was great, and the music was like turned up to 11. It was like just kind of like the original Star Wars. It's like the music is like a whole other character in the movie. So it wasn't like a lot of scenes where things would be happening and the music was toned down. Like it was there, making sure that you know that this is a intense scene or something like that. Even if it's an old man walking with a cane, it was still
Yeah, I definitely do that.
Yeah. I love the sound design of the movie as well. Like every time somebody would get punched, like like I love that. That was just funny to me.
It be sounding like people get lit up with them punching sound effects for it.
Yes. And then Andy going into the different environments. Oh, sorry. Let me go back and say I like the whole car chase scene. Like in the middle, I thought that was good. I definitely enjoyed that. But I really liked the first part of the movie. Like all of that, when he was, de-aged and stuff.
De-aged? Yes, that was the best part of the movie.
Was great.
Yes, that was
when he
good.
was, and the cool thing about it was a lot of it wasn't action. Like he was, like the best part in like the whole movie was when he accidentally slipped in and saw the two guys guarding the thing, and he had on his Nazi uniform, and he just walked up to him and took the guy's coffee and poured it out. And he didn't say a word. Like that was all good. And then when they saw that he had a bullet hole in his back, all in his chest, like that was great. Like all of that, I loved it.
That's classic. That's what I mean. Like that part was like so good. And then when they went to regular, just like
when they even when he went into like the dining car, and he went in there and just sat down and just like he was a regular old guy, because they didn't know who they were looking for. They just knew they were looking for somebody, so all of that was really cool. I also like the time travel elements of the movie. That part was really good too. I really liked that, honestly. It was funny to me when the Germans showed up and they just started shooting at the Romans. I'm like, bro, like you might be killing your grandfather here. Like, what are you doing? I guess they didn't have time travel movies back then, so you just didn't know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And then I like the twist that Archimedes had designed the Dial of Destiny so that it was always going to bring them back to that particular point so he could get help. I thought that was cool. So there's a lot of things about the movie that I really like. But most of my problems with the movie were in the writing. And there were so many times where it's like, okay, I'm with you. And then it'd be like, why'd you do that? Why? Like you're looking at your child, like you're just disappointed in them. Like, like the first time. Okay, so in the very beginning of the movie, he's being hung, right? And he's got all these Nazi soldiers around him, and all of a sudden a bomb like drops in the middle of them. That was cool, right? And then the bomb doesn't explode, but it drops down.
It keeps going down, yeah.
Like, okay, all right, I'm with you. And then it explodes and kills everybody in the room, and he's untouched. Why you do that? If he could have maybe just swung like out the window or something to make sure that it made sense, that he didn't even get a splinter. Then, okay, they're on the train, right? And then there's this gun on top of the train, and the gun gets hit by Allied Air Force, and then the gun swings around, and okay, it shoots at them. That's cool, but then the gun kills every Nazi on the train. Why you do that? You know, it's stuff like that always.
Okay, with that one, I was wondering what was happening, but then I saw the train was going around a curve, so the back end was getting all the bullets, and I'm like, okay, well, that's why they're all getting shot now, because earlier it was just shooting straight at Indy and them because they were going a straightaway. Right. But then when the back started turning, it started aiming all the way down the cart and just taking everybody out. But yeah, I do understand what that was kind of.
Maybe it could have like shot a couple of them. Like, okay, I'd have been all right with that. But that thing just lit up the whole train. Like, guys were coming up the side and stuff. They were all.
Yeah, you're right.
You know,
it's like somebody was on there actually aiming.
Yeah. Exactly. It was so many things that it just didn't make no sense. When they get to the end of that, oh my goodness, the leader of the Nazis, right? He jumps up on the top of the train. He's like, "I'm gonna get you," right? This mother pulls out the dagger that stabbed Jesus, the fake one, right?
Yes.
He's got a whole gun on his leg.
Yeah.
Because they pull it out later. So he's obviously there. He obviously knows that it's there. He's mother coming with the fake
knife to a gunfight, son.
Right. Again, why'd you do that? Like, why didn't he just show up with the gun? You know what I mean? Like, it was so many times like that they would do stuff like I'd be right with them, I'd be rolling with them, and then the writers would be like, yeah, we're just gonna do that. Like, is there, like, have you seen those pitch meeting YouTube videos? Okay, like, well, they're like, somebody's pitching it, and then the other guy's like, well, you know, barely, super easy, barely an inconvenience. Like, that's the same type of stuff. Like, do y'all not think about this? Is there, like, I would say when somebody would hire us, honestly, just to show up to movies, and it's like, okay, tell me what happens. Okay, but doesn't he have a gun? You know, that type of stuff. Yeah. Okay, what about the fact that the guy that eventually becomes the leader, the scientist? Everybody's talking about this. Like, every review that I've seen is talking about this. The fact that this mug got creamed in the face with the sign.
Yes. Where the freak? I thought he gonna have a scar at least.
At least he should have had a scar or a limp or something. No, how does that make sense?
I was like, man. Even on the other Indiana Jones movies, when I think one of the bad guy got burnt up or something, like he had scars. The next time he saw Indiana Jones like years later. Right. That's how you knew who he was.
That's
like,
how you knew
he was. And then yeah, like dude was just chilling.
Exactly.
Somebody pushed him off the train.
Like the first time you see him, it's like, I think that's the same guy. Is that his son? Like, you know, man. Then, okay, they had this whole big chase, right, in the middle of a parade. Probably the biggest parade of all, almost the biggest parade of all time up until that point. Literally, the astronauts have come back from going to the moon. They could have chose any small little stupid parade they wanted to. They decided to do it then. Why? Like, why? Like, why? To me, if you're gonna do that, then it would have been cooler if they did it like in the background or something. Like all of that stuff was happening. Like you had the parade going and you had the bands playing and the drums and stuff, so the people don't hear the gunshots or see the horse riding down the street. This old man is riding a horse down the middle of a parade that everybody is watching in the United States.
Yeah. Yes.
And there's two cops.
Yeah, two cops. Two cops. And both of them died.
What? Why did you do that? You know what I mean? If there's going to be two cops, then it should have been off to the side. But it just didn't make no sense. I will say a couple of things. One thing that I didn't like, but one thing I did like. The fan service. So fan service, of course, is like when they do something just to please the fans, right? So the scene where they go into Archimedes' tomb, and they get covered with the spiders and the centipedes and stuff like that. That was unnecessary to me. That was just, let's take it back to Temple of Doom. Y'all like it when he's covered in spiders and stuff like that. Of course, they don't get bitten by anything. Like, but what they did do right was, Indy's always like, why they have to be snakes, And so he said that, but it wasn't snakes, it was eels. But then the little boy was like, yeah, but snakes eels look just like snakes. And then when he gets down there to grab the gravitos or whatever it is, Grapico, then all the eels come and attack him. Now that was cool. That was like, okay, like you took something that we all knew, but you didn't just give it to us exactly the way that you've given it to us before. You did it in a different way. I like that.
Yeah,
That was cool. All
that
right.
was good.
I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up because I got one other thing. This movie could have been saved for me, except for the ending. It could have been saved. I love the time travel stuff. I was cool with that, man. And this man he's lost his son. You know, he's separated from his wife. He's lost. You know, he's lost everything. He's an older man. You know, he's wanted for murder. This mug goes back in time, and the one thing that has always been with him through all five of these movies, right, is his love for history. Going and seeing what's there, and now here he is in the past, living it, his passion, and he's there watching it, and he's like, "Leave me behind." And I'm like, blood. Maybe it's because I'm single. Maybe that's the reason. I'm like, I get it. Yes, leave me behind. And he was shot right now. Granted, he should have died an hour ago, but still, you know, they had the opportunity to wrap a bow on the story of Indiana Jones because here he is at the end of watching history. They could have got their butts on the plane and flew off, and we would have left Indy back in the past doing the main thing that he loves to do, and he would have died back then, and that would have been the end of Indiana Jones. And I would have said that was a great way to end our hero. Instead, they knock him out, bring him back. This mug wakes up in his apartment, and his wife comes in, and she's old too.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have to see these two old people make out. Who wanted to see that? Now I like the fact that she was like, kiss my elbow and kiss my shoulder and stuff like that. I didn't want to see them kissing. I'm glad they zoomed out when they were kissing. I didn't want to see that.
Old people hate. The old people love.
Yeah. It's happening. I didn't pay money to see old people make out.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, man. So it's like that to me, that really sunk the movie. Like if they had done it the other way, I might have been saying like, yeah, I enjoy this. It had some faults, but it ended up being a pretty good movie. But to me, it was almost a great movie because it had so much going for it. The stunt works, the visuals, the characters themselves, the music, but the story just kind of ruined it for me. So yeah, almost great. All right, so what would you give this Indiana Jones?
5 or 6.
Dang.
5 or 6.
It's worse than the Flash?
It's worse than I don't know. I didn't feel this one. Like I like all of them. I like the skull one, the crystal skull. I like that one.
Okay.
Like I enjoy watching it. I rewatched it a few times.
Okay.
I'll go watch the old ones. I always like all those. This one, I don't know. I guess I can't really the old thing, and then I couldn't really find any characters that I just wanted to enjoy throughout the movie. That I could just
wouldn't feel in the girl.
No, I didn't feel her. I like how they brought some of the old people from the movies, the earlier movies. They're super old too. I guess one thing is looking at all of our people get all old. you're like, dang, how old are you? Like 90? Good gracious. You go back and look at the old movies, they all young. It's like, dang. The time is definitely that's probably why they use time travel in this movie to let you know that time comes for everybody. Even Indiana Jones.
Even Indiana Jones. Yes, sir. Go ahead and get that Social Security, sir. Oh, and then the fact that at the very end, after they didn't have him leave him in the past, right? Then they zoom in on the hat, and then he grabs the hat. Are you trying to tell me that you're going to leave the door open for us to do this again?
No. I thought they were going to have his son kind of take over and like they were going to try to redo it as a younger one. And he just comes in and like, helps out with stuff in the background. Nah, they They got an Indiana Jones series. No, that was National Treasure. Never mind, I'm talking about. I thought it was Indiana Jones. But yeah, I thought they were going to go a different direction. I don't know what they're going to do with Indiana Jones now. Just let
Retire
him go.
him,
I guess
please.
retire him and move
Please.
on.
We don't need to see another one of these. We're good. I'll give it
95.
I'll give it I've given this score a lot as far as its numbers. 7.041. I've given a lot of scores of sevens, I believe. I didn't hate the movie. I thought it was pretty decent. I just wish they had done some different things with it. All right. So, what do you guys think about Indiana Jones and the Retirement of Doom? Please let us know. Leave your comments here on Facebook or Spotify. I guess we're going to get on the new thing thread or whatever, wherever the heck you hear this, YouTube. Just leave a comment. Do something, please. And of course, you got to subscribe to survive.
To survive.
Bruh, the worst part of the whole movie was the first time you see Harrison Ford. The very first time you see him. He looks good, his DAs and stuff, and he's like, get it over with. This is color commentary. We'll be giving views on a different side.
Peace.
Peace.
Saturday morning.